So while the Republicans compete for votes here in South Carolina, we have the Democrats. They're going to be facing off next week, coming up in the Nevada caucuses, which is why Hillary Clinton is going to be campaigning there later this morning, going to Henderson, Nevada, outside Las Vegas. Now, her campaign focused on solidifying support among young people and women after her defeat in New Hampshire. Now, among the startling numbers that came out on Tuesday from New Hampshire, Clinton lost voters under the age of 30 by 67 points, and she lost women by 11 points. That's a key constituency for any Democratic campaign. So as we look to Nevada and South Carolina, what will Hillary Clinton need to do to improve on those New Hampshire exit polls? Joining our panel now is McKay Coppins, senior political writer at BuzzFeed News and author of the new book, The Wilderness Inside the Republican Party's Combative, Contentious, Chaotic Quest to Take Back the White House. The title's not long enough, McKay. It's not long enough.
I applaud you for getting all the way through the subtitle. Are we done now? Is that the segment?
That's it? You've eaten up all my time. No. We've got a lot to talk about, but let's get to this really first, the interesting numbers of Nevada and the fight for the Latino vote out there. We've got 44.7% of Latino voters in Nevada being millennials, 50.6% are women. As we look at the exit polling coming out of New Hampshire, does that foreshadow any concerns for the Clinton camp in Nevada, with Bernie Sanders easily coming up to give polling out of Nevada a concern for her?
Well, you certainly seem to hear that from the Clinton camp and her allies. I think that they're after Iowa and New Hampshire, they're kind of redoubling their efforts to reach out to those constituencies that they haven't done as well with. Now, remember, though, that the Nevada caucuses, even more so than the Iowa caucuses, are extremely difficult to poll. They're extremely it's kind of an arduous process in terms of organizing and getting turnout there. And so I think that the Clinton camp, their focus should be more on the ground game, more on actually just literally getting their voters to the polls, as opposed to trying to, make some grand efforts to change minds or win people over. In Nevada, it's really all about just getting your supporters to the caucus sites. And I think that the Clinton camp thinks that they have an advantage there.
And really, we're like bipolar in how this is all unfolding, because we're focusing on Nevada. And as we look at the dates, we've got the Nevada caucus for the Democrats Saturday. It's a closed caucus on Saturday the 20th. South Carolina Republican one is open. Then we get the reverse later down the line in the month, with Nevada for the Republicans closed on Tuesday the 23rd, and then for the Dems here Saturday the 27th.
So that's something I want to point out here, because this is the first state where you have different dates for the two primaries. Yes. So the Democratic campaign has a lot longer to gestate, to adjust, for things to be different. So there's a reason I saw a lot more Republican commercials on right now, because they do go first, and I think that could influence the dynamic a little bit, because right now Bernie Sanders is just really starting his first African-American push. Hillary Clinton has had staff here since April, from almost the week since she began. So he now has a little time to work it, much better than if he had a vote coming up on...
well, as we split our attention back and forth between Nevada and South Carolina, and we look from what happened at the last debate, where everybody was trying to attach themselves to Obama's legacy, Hillary Clinton doing a better job of that and being able to carry the torch further. Jamal, we look at the new polling from NBC News in South Carolina. 60% of likely Democratic voters are African-American, Clinton leading among them at 74%. I want to show this to everybody, because our Joy Reid caught up with two men in South Carolina at a barbershop this week. This is where you go and you can find out the real deal of what people think. Take a listen to what they say.
Are people generally leaning Bernie, leaning Hillary? What are you hearing?
Well, we have a lot. The older clientele, they're leaning towards Hillary. The younger, they're all leaning towards Bernie. So, the younger, they're feeling their student loans. They're Bernie's saying things that they can relate to. And I guess Hillary is saying more of the things that the older crowd can relate to. But the older crowd, they don't realize we need more. We need more people,
Yeah, and it sounds like you agree with that.
Every bit is what he's saying. I agree.
And so there's this generational divide, Jamal. Interesting, though, Bernie older than Hillary, but the younger folks like him better. But why is Hillary Clinton struggling with having that type of trust and recognition with her legacy?
You know, Bernie Sanders is a little bit like a Mork and Mindy T-shirt on an urban hipster, right? It's like a throwback thing. Like, people love the Bernie factor.
Vinyl. It's like vinyl.
It's like vinyl. Also, I had a conversation with the Uber driver yesterday, because I've been running this Uber poll wherever I go in the country. And this guy, he's probably 50-something years old. He and his wife, they were Clinton supporters. He's like, no, I don't know. I'm leaning toward Bernie. I'm trying to learn so much more about him. I think that there are more African Americans who will come along to Bernie's side than one may think. And the Hillary Clinton campaign is very wide in the African American community. I'm not sure it's very deep. I was hearing from some people who were on the ground here last night that she's had a couple staff here, but she hasn't had that many people in as many places. Mm-hmm. And now Bernie has flooded the state with people from all over, and they are really canvassing the state and starting to move people. So I don't know. 74, it won't be a 60-point win if he wins here. Maybe 20 or 30 in the African-American community. And if he wins among white liberals in a place like Columbia, you can see this thing get pretty tight going into the election day.
So, for example, Bill Clinton is in South Carolina today, and this is something. Yes, in Florence. Bernie Sanders, you know, everyone has surrogates. Everyone will have their hip young endorsers, their older establishment endorsers. So, you know, they could run the table on that. But, you know, Bill Clinton's here. The other thing is, this is, and I would be interested in everyone's views, South Carolina, when you talk about a young vote, there is an abundance of historically black colleges here. Mm-hmm. So you have another dynamic. Hillary Clinton has been doing a lot of reach out to that. Presumably Sanders has his stake there. So there's a lot of different opportunities for Democrats here to make their pitches.
Okay,
and all the demographics.
Let me give you the last word.
Yeah, I would just say that the Sanders camp has been spinning, and they have a recent poll to back them up, that they actually do better. They're winning among younger black voters. But I would point out, just to keep that spin in check, that younger black voters make up a very small or relatively small portion of the national black vote, and that's where Hillary Clinton still has a much bigger lead.
Okay, thank you so much, McKay, and thanks to the panel. Again, stick around. We got a lot to